Hi everyone, I'm Hoodie Angel Brandon, and welcome to another Fire Emblem Heroes unit build showcase. Today we have a lot of tropical trouble. It's Summer Claude. We are finally getting to build this boy. Been very excited, looking forward to it since I decided that I wanted to pull for him on my birthday, which was around the start of July, and just had to take time, grind out his hero merit, get his SP up, and get everything prepared. But now we are ready to get this guy going. So Claude is a really cool character. I really enjoy him in Three Houses. I do wish his route was a little more unique from Silver Snow, but that's not really his fault. I wish they had taken more steps to show Claude being kind of sneaky and strategical, but other than that, Claude himself is a really cool character. He's just a really cool character and provides a nice grounded contrast to Dimitri and Edelgard, and it's going to be cool to have him finally officially in the Angel Army, since this is a relatively accessible version of him. It still costed me quite a few orbs to get him, but still looking forward to it. And he looks very powerful, given that he comes with a really great weapon, and he also gets to keep Fallen Star, which is pretty insane for a demote unit. So even though he is a demote, I think that he's going to be one of our stronger units. And most summer alts I'm kind of indifferent about. I mean, they usually look really good, but in terms of actually using them in content, it feels a little immersion breaking, though I'm kind of getting over that with seasonal units. But in the context of taking these characters into battle, sometimes it's a little absurd and difficult to take characters seriously if they're running around fighting in swimsuits. But Claude actually really rocks this, aside from just having great art. I can actually see him showing up to the Battle of Eagle and Lion dressed up like this. Like he would just show up in a swimsuit to throw Dimitri and Edelgard off their game. Get into their heads, assert dominance, and strip! So anyway, let's blow this popsicle stand and get this good boy kitted up. So to start, we are going to have to promote our various Claudes and just unlock their potential. So we're just going to do that super fast. And apparently what Claude needed to beat the summer heat is 20,000 feathers, exactly, not a single one more or less. I'm not exactly sure how he intends to use that to cool off, but Claude's a mysterious guy. He's a man of many mysteries. So it would be impolite to pry, and we'll just have to leave it to our imagination. What Claude is going to use these feathers for to cool off. And there we go. Now we can begin merging him up. And of course, we are merging into a plus speed one. He is minus attack, unfortunately, but that will soon be a non-issue. Claude truly planned this all along. That was his ploy. He became a demote so that people would be tempted to pull merges on him, and he would have no flaws. Brilliant strategy, honestly. So +1. But yeah, Claude is really cool. Again, I really wish we had gotten to see a little bit more of his strategy and tactics at play. A lot of the ones that they had, like sneaking in dressed up as enemy soldiers, I was like, I actually was thinking, I was like, what, are we going to like dress up as enemy guards? And that's exactly what they decided to do. And I was like, well, I wish it was something a little more grand. But he did have some other cool moments, like having Almiran troops participate in battles to further the ploys and the misdirection. Just wish we had gotten to see a little bit more of that, but he is a very cool character. But it is cool to see him and how he's willing to do things to achieve certain goals. Like who he's willing to side with, like in certain routes he'll side with Dimitri, and in others he'll side with Edelgard. Just interesting, and he can be a little unpredictable, I guess, and he's even willing to support the church if it means that he'll get ahead. Very interesting character. And there we go, plus 10. Alright, let's take a look real quick. Looking very solid, 50 unbuffed speed. Very, very good. 42 attack, a little on the low side, but that's kind of to be expected of ranged units, and especially daggers, I feel. And he has lots of ways to make up for that, so I don't think it's that big of an issue. That speed, though, holds up very nicely. Still cannot believe that he is a demote. However, we can get that even higher. We can give him some dragon flowers, plus 5, and give him one more to each stat across the board. But oh wait! Even though Claude just recently released, he was here just in time to get even more flowers, so he gets plus 2 across the board. 52 unassisted speed. Crazy. This is a fast boy. He is working around the clock to make his schemes come true, even on vacation. Gotta admire the work ethic. And we are going to put that work ethic to use on the battlefield and make him super strong. So to use that strength on the battlefield, of course, we have to bless him. And some of these characters, I just kind of throw blessings on them just, because I bless all my good units. And a lot of the time it's just kind of aesthetic. But Claude, I actually am thinking he could be very good for some of the more competitive modes like Summoner Duels and Aether Raids. I could definitely see him holding up in those modes and being very useful. So even though I kind of want to give him like a light or anima blessing for aesthetics because I think they would look good on him, or even like water or wind because of water being that he's like kind of a summer unit and it's like swimming and water and the beach, and wind because of verdant wind, I'm kind of thinking I want to go Astra so that I can use him on Astra season. I think that he would be a great addition to my Astra season roster, and I guess he does have Fallen Star, and Astra is related to stars, so I guess it's still somewhat thematic, but we're going to go ahead and Astra bless him for now. And we need to give him an ally support. Now, I don't have anyone on my current plus 10 roster that I think is a perfect fit for him. However, planning a little bit ahead, I do have a character that I've been considering trying to plus 10 eventually. And I think she would make a perfect pair for Claude. Just like Claude is always planning ahead, we're going to plan a little bit ahead too and hope that our schemes fall into place. And we're going to support him with Hilda for some holiday hijinks. My thought process is, even though their colors overlap, Hilda can be a near save tank and kind of just cover for Claude, tank hits for him, and he can snipe ranged units before they get a chance to get at her. So that's my thought process there, and we're just gonna support these two, and just like she supports him on his route, they are going to support here and Asker as well. And finally, before we get to learning skills, we gotta look our best for the battlefield. Fortunately for summer units, they get a lot of good accessories, so we have some options, including this tropical hat. I don't like this thing, it's ugly. Claude, you're not wearing that, sorry. Although he did look very enthusiastic about it. I was thinking of something like the Happy Hibiscus, or maybe even the gold seashell hairpin, but I actually think that Claude would look really good with one of his own accessories. We got this exotic bandana from Claude, and I think it matches pretty nice. It has a similar pattern to his swim shorts, and I think it would be fitting. And it'll help keep him cool. So we will go ahead and toss that on him. For skills, Claude doesn't need many tricks up his sleeves because, as you might recall, he's not wearing any. He actually comes with pretty solid base kit. With his weapon, he doesn't need a new weapon. He doesn't need a new B slot. And his C slot is even pretty dang solid, but that doesn't mean there isn't some nifty toys we can get him and improve him overall. He doesn't need a whole lot. This will be fairly light on inheritance, but we do need to get him some treats. So starting off, we are just going to go ahead and grab everyone's favorite reposition. We're just going to yoink that from this 3-star Furdy Birdie. And there we go. We'll also go ahead and grab Drawback and Swap just to give him some other movement options. And I was actually considering upgrading this Seteth to 5 stars to grab Drive Attack from him while I was at it. Yes, I have enough feathers that was a serious consideration for me. However, I decided against it because I really want Claude to focus more on debuffs than buffs, kind of like how I felt about Kaze, where I wanted to lean more into the debuffer niche rather than buffing allies. I may give him drives or something eventually, but for now, I think I'd prefer to stick to a more debuff-oriented role. So we're not going to upgrade this Seteth. We're just going to grab the swap and call that good. Claude just snuck into the Garrigmach library and swiped a swap manual from right under Seteth's nose. Who would have thought? Next, we are going to go ahead and grab the Aether line. It probably won't be his main special, but it just never hurts to have a nice source of healing, especially since Claude actually can take some hits with Fallen Star. However, more importantly, we're going to go ahead and grab Luna as well as Armored Blow 1 from Katria. As setup to grab Lethality from Volk, being a dagger, being able to get that anti-damage reduction special and ignore a full 75% of enemies' def and res is pretty dang solid. And we're also going to go ahead and grab Sturdy Impact along with it. Unfortunately, we can't take Null Follow-Up or Times Pulse, so just going to grab what we can from Volk. There you go, Claude. That was a very expensive birthday gift to myself. I hope you enjoy. Next, we are going to grab Threaten Speed Def from Guy over here, or apparently Guy is how he prefers to be addressed. And just go ahead and grab that. And also, we are going to take our fellow house leader, Dimitri, and we're going to go ahead and grab Speed Death Menace with it. And even though we did just grab that very fancy Sturdy Impact, we're much more interested in grabbing Attack Speed Catch for the inherent synergy it has with Claude's kit going on. So we're just going to go ahead and grab Attack Speed Catch 1 through 3 and Speed Death Menace. And finally, to finish things off, we are going to grab Farina, and we are going to grab that last Attack Speed Catch 4 that we needed. And we also have the option to take either Attack Speed Snag or Attack Def Rain. Attack Speed Snag is actually the rarer of these two skills, funny enough, but I'm never going to replace Claude's Fallen Star. While I may need Attack Def Rain for some random map for team support, so I'm going to take that instead. So that will complete Claude's tropical feast of fodder. There you go, enjoy. So as always, we're just going to learn all of these, and then we will begin building him up. Wow, neither of them are appropriately dressed. Alrighty, he's all ready to go, so let's go ahead and finalize his build. As I mentioned, he doesn't need a whole lot. He already comes pretty good out of the box. In fact, at first he looked like totally complete. I mean, aside from obviously missing an ace skill. But when I was deciding whether to pull or not, I saw some other people who had different ways to kind of optimize the build and make it a little stronger. I do still think he's fairly flexible and fairly ready to go out of the box though. You just really need to add like a movement assist and really any ace slot that just kind of gives him some more stats like life and death or swift sparrow for like 4-star options, or something even like attack speed solo if you have a little bit of somewhat premium fodder lying around. And even speed def rain is still fantastic on him, and his prefs are bonkers, so he doesn't really need a whole lot. But we are going to give him a few little premium stuff. So first we are going to keep this very bonkers pref. Frozen Delight gives him Canto Remainder, so if he doesn't have to move a whole lot, he can play a sort of hit and run strategy. And of course it also works well with other allies running like Reposition, or even someone with like Pathfinder to help him conserve movement so that he has more movement left over for the Canto effect. And of course, despite Canto already being powerful, it also has other nice effects. It lets him start with a lowered cooldown with a slang effect, and also gives him +6 attack speed if he either initiates or is within 2 spaces of an ally, kind of remedying his, what I said, lower attack, but he's already at 58 attack, so I guess that was kind of a lie, and bumps up his really impressive speed. So he'd be at 64 attack and 58 speed on a ranged unit, already very solid. But that's not all. If he initiates and his total number of bonuses and the total number of penalties on the enemy are greater than 12, he attacks twice. And then he also has the standard Dagger 7 effect. Just a lot of stuff in there, as you can see. It's very long description. But if he initiates, drops his Dagger 7 debuff, and then gets danced and attacks again, he has already got 14 penalties on the foe, and he will get that Brave effect. So it's very solid. There is really no reason I can think of to swap that out. Speaking of swap, we could give him swap, which would be good for some tighter maps with like a lot of unnavigatable terrain, like walls and pillars and stuff. But really for ranged units, I do prefer drawback or reposition for flying units. And Claude being a flyer, I'm going to go with reposition, but both drawback and swap both have uses as well on certain maps. But just gotta respect the repo. It's still just like the most flexible one, I think. For his special, Moonbow would give you very fast hits, especially if you've got that Brave effect up. It would trigger every single time, I think, unless he's got like a guard effect penalty, because his weapon drops that special cooldown to 1, and then the follow-up attack would trigger Moonbow. But he also has Aether as an option to kind of heal himself up, get that sustain. I just always like throwing Aether on there. You just never know when you'll need to tank hits on a map and then be able to heal yourself up, so it doesn't hurt to have. But we are going to go with Lethality as his main option. Being a dagger unit, he gets access to this very nice skill. Lets him cut a lot of def on the opponent to take out bulkier threats, and it also nullifies damage reduction from things like Spurn, so he can also take out dodge tanks, and especially like any dodge armors, he would be able to take those out. Someone like a Winter Ignatz with Far Save and Savvy Fighter, he would just tear through if he has lethality up. Its cooldown is also reduced by the slang effect, of course, so it's at 3 cooldown, which could be a little tricky, but if he's outspeeding, then he should be getting the Brave effect and then also a follow-up with his massive speed. By the way, I find it very funny that the Brave effect has like no speed penalty on it or anything. So against anything but the fastest fighters, he should be quadding, and if they aren't taken down by those first few hits, then the special will come in and just finish them off. So very solid. Next for A slots, as I mentioned, he does have a lot of options. We could get like attack speed solo, or Swift Sparrow, Life and Death. He could even take attack speed push since that's fairly common, but we did get Sturdy Impact as a throw-in with lethality, which could be an interesting option since it does improve his bulk a lot, and with Fallen Star giving him some damage reduction, it would allow him to have a lot of survivability, especially since it negates enemies' follow-up attacks. So anyone with like QR or Vengeful Fighter or some other effect that would let them double back, Dragon's Ire is another one, he would be able to nullify that and make sure that he's surviving. So that is another interesting option, but we are going to take attack speed catch for the simplicity. It does give that very valuable speed, because even though he's very fast, so many units stack tons of speed, so getting every little scrap of speed is very helpful, and that gives him an extra +7 to both his speed and attack for the relatively easy requirement of the opponent's HP being 100%, and he also gets that buff if they have any kind of penalty. So I guess if you did initiate, hit them with like Savage Blow, but you also had something like Chill Attack Speed, he could still get that buff anyway. But if they happen to have both of those effects, then you get an extra +2, giving him an even bigger boost, which is easy to do given he already inflicts debuffs with Dagger 7 in addition to other skills and potential team support. So it's very easy to just get a +9 to everything. And since he already wants you to be dropping penalties for his Brave effect, then you're really encouraged to just kind of stack that. So I do think attack speed catch is kind of like his optimal choice. Even if I'm not the most wild on catch or ideal skills, they are growing on me, and I do think that that base synergy with his dagger just makes it really good. But again, he's just got a lot of easy A slot options. Really anything that bumps up his attack and speed is a solid pick. I could even see like Fury if you need something on a big budget, just because he shouldn't be taking that much damage, especially with Fallen Star. He'd be able to survive. In fact, on a super big budget, you could probably just throw Death Blow or Darting Blow 3 at him, and they would still help him either hit harder or get those guaranteed doubles. For his B slot, he has the incredible Fallen Star. I just cannot get over the fact they put this on a demote unit. This is so good. If he initiates, it reduces damage by a whopping 80%. That's better than like most damage reduction effects. And it also gives him the Fallen Star effect and inflicts gravity on opponents, making him very good for hit and run tactics when combining the gravity effect with the Canto Remainder in his weapon. And Fallen Star reduces damage from the foe's first attack by 80%, so if he doesn't have any remaining spaces to use for Canto, and he's kind of stuck out in enemy territory, then he still has a very solid chance of surviving. So it does make him deceptively bulky. And then finally, for his C slot, he does come with Speed Def Rain, which again, I think is already fantastic. I really love Rain skills, so it kind of hurts me to not be using these because I really like them. They both have really good team support. Speed Def, of course, improves Claude's general offense, while Attack Def could have use in general team support. But for his C slot, we are actually going to run Speed Def Menace. It hits the enemy for a debuff of -6 speed and def, which when you add it up is, what do you know, exactly 12, which is exactly what you need to trigger Claude's Brave effect. So it has inherent synergy with his weapon, and it also inflicts a penalty for his attack speed catch. So on first initiation, with the enemy not having any HP lost and being hit by Speed Def Menace, he's guaranteed to get the full effect of attack speed catch. But that's not all. Since Speed Def Menace drains the stats and gives them to Claude, he also gets +6 speed and def, which the defense isn't that important, but it does still help contribute to his bulk, which again with Fallen Star can make him deceptively tanky. But the speed is very good, just stacks more onto that big ol' pile, makes him super fast, and that also automatically gives him buffs totaling, again, 12 for Frozen Delight. So even if he decides not to attack the enemy that got hit with Speed Def Menace, and attacks a different unit, that means he will still have +12 on bonuses, triggering the Brave effect on his weapon again. This means he could hit an enemy with Menace, run over and attack a different unit, still probably take them out, and then leave the enemy that had their stats drained for a different unit to clean up. giving him a little bit more flexibility. And again, this was not my original idea. I saw other people doing this, and it just seemed really, really cool to have his weapon pretty much online all the time with minimal effort. And there are other ways you can also get those penalties. Pairing him with someone like Mail Morgan would be another option. He could run with like Plaguey and Chris, and that could make a whole debuff team right there. So lots of potential team synergy utilizing those debuffs as well. But giving Claude the Speed Def Menace himself just makes him a little self-sufficient in case he wants to run on his own. And it also helps if, say, Morgan and Claude are on the opposite ends of the map, and the enemy that Claude's trying to take on isn't being affected by Morgan's effect. That means that he still gets those debuffs and can still fight at max potential. Finally, for the Sacred Seal, of course, like his A slot, he has a lot of options. We could run Life and Death or Death Blow, even Darting Blow to just really double down on his speed, make sure he gets those quads. He could also take something like, say, a Chill, since his B slot is pretty much locked down with Fallen Star. We could take something like Chill Speed Res or Chill Attack Def to provide that extra team support, get debuffs on more enemies aside from the one that he's necessarily hitting, so that if, say, the opponent that he hits with the Menace isn't a great matchup, like they have a Unity skill, he's still debuffing someone else that might have a better matchup for him in particular. He could also run like Flyer Assist skills to give him even more movement options, or we could take some of the C slots like Guidance or Flyer Guidance or Air Orders to take advantage of his flying utility in that way. He could even take something like Mystic Boost, which seems a little silly, but when you consider how Fallen Star really helps his survivability, he could just keep topping himself up since he's not going to take a whole lot of damage and really just keep his HP up and stay in peak fighting condition. That would be good if you want to try a more tank-oriented approach, which might be good if you wanted to run something like Close Foil on him, for example. But I do like just giving him a lot more attack speed just to guarantee those kills. And we are going to actually give him Attack Def Catch for now, but once Attack Speed Catch gets a seal, I think he will probably have that stapled to his hand, and he will not be allowed to let go of that because it'll just fit so perfectly for him. Because he already gets +6 from Frozen Delight on his attack speed, theoretically +9 on Attack Speed Catch, and an additional +6 speed on Speed Def Menace. That means he should be getting +15 attack and +21 on speed already, which would put him at 73 attack and speed. And then you just add another +5 to both with the theoretical attack speed catch seal, would put him at 78 on both, which is pretty dang impressive. And while there are other options like, say, attack speed solo or even Blade Session, which could give even higher returns, the fact that attack speed catch would synergize with his already existing skills and just be active all the time would make it just very consistent, and not as many of my other units would want to fight him for that seal, like they would for, say, Swift Sparrow, which I end up swapping around a lot. Pretty much no one else is going to want to fight Claude for that attack speed catch seal when it comes out. Even attack def catch right now, he already has someone coming in the future who will want to take that from him. So having attack speed catch be pretty much Claude's dedicated seal will be very nice in the future. So we are just going to go ahead and give him that, and already he looks really good. Once we get that attack speed catch seal in the future, then he will be pretty much complete. But look at him, he looks so solid. He has incredible offensive stat lines, especially once you factor in all the different buffs and the penalties the enemy is going to be getting, which, by the way, Speed Def Menace also, in addition to helping him guarantee that he's going to quad, the enemy will have -6 defense as well. So they will be even easier to just rip through, because when he quads, that means that he's going to do like +6 damage over all of those hits, which is just hilarious. But one last thing I did forget is to change the background. Claude can have the nice fancy bedroom background, which does not sound as good given I've got a half-naked man in my bedroom. Oh no. Unfortunately, I do not have the fancy beach background, or else that would be perfect for him, but those were expensive, so I did not get them. But anyway, he looks fantastic, and I'm very excited to go test him out. And real quick, let's go ahead and grab our teammates. Of course, we are bringing our dear professor. He has to chaperone this beach trip and also oversee Claude's progress. He is running a speedy offensive set with Surge Sparrow for some sustain. Frenzy and Vital Astra give him some damage reduction. Nothing too crazy. Times Pulse helps keep Vital Astra online as well. And we're also going to go ahead and bring along Seteth for that Three Houses theme. He can also provide buffs with Spear of Assault and Speed Def Rain to help Claude get kills. And also Harsh Command can reverse any debuffs, just in case Claude ends up like panicked or something. He is running another offensive build though he is focusing on Gale Force with Heavy Blade this time. And then finally is Plegian Chris, who is a backup offensive unit who can take advantage of any debuffs that Claude leaves with his dagger or his menace skill. But he's running a kind of mixed bulk speedy build with stacking speed and then also res to round out his defenses a little bit. But they are all backup units. Claude is the real star, so we're going to try and get kills with him primarily. I also considered bringing along Mail Morgan for debuffs, but we want to test Claude debuffing himself. So even though Morgan would also be a really solid partner for him, we're going to just have Claude take care of this one. Alright, we are here in Arena Assault to test our boy out. We have a very high scoring, despite being relatively low tier, Santa Felix, and also a Winter Jafar. Are they both far save? Okay, they're both far save. So we have to test Claude against some far save units, which is actually perfect. I was hoping to encounter some far save units, see how he does, and also Felix being a bow unit will also be good for research to know how well he holds up against a far save that counters attacks with a bow. And Jafar also has weapon triangle advantage, so this will be interesting to test at the very least. And we'll go ahead and move Claude up. And alright, so if we attack, we can't take out Felix, unfortunately, but we are surviving, which is good to know. I think we could attack Felix, reduce a lot of that damage, and then we're going to just pull away from Lucina. Actually, I misread that. I thought she was hit with the gravity too, but I guess because of the save effect, she was not technically in range of the gravity effect. So that's troublesome. We took some damage, but Fallen Star reduced it anyway. We'll go ahead and take her out. Goodbye. Goodbye, fake Marth. And we have the Fallen Star effect again, so let's go ahead and try and bait out Leon. Pull back the rest of our units. Leon attacks us for 46, but we will reduce a good chunk of that. Once again, survive and trigger lethality on the counterattack. Yeah, Claude's deceptively bulky. It's pretty interesting how much that 80% damage reduction can sway things for you. And now we don't want to attack Jafar, actually. That's troublesome. Alright, let's just pull back a little bit. Ooh, that's spooky. Felix, you gotta get off that defense tile. Can we just move our allies up the side here? I just don't want to do that. Okay, now we've got the menace on Felix, and if we attack Jafar, he will swoop in and we will take him out. and if we attack Felix, we will hit Jafar instead. So just got to manipulate them a little bit here. We will take out Felix like so. There he goes, down he goes. We trigger our Fallen Star, and hopefully that will be enough to let us tank despite the weapon triangle disadvantage. He hits us for 28, does 6, we counter and do a good chunk back. Drop our debuffs, and now Claude can finish the job even with weapon triangle disadvantage. He just cleans up and takes out his foe. That was very good, very well done. We didn't even have to rely on the other units. Claude was more than capable of handling things himself, so if we did have backup, he would have been even more of a force to be reckoned with. So that is our Summer Claude build. I'm overall very impressed. I know he's not perfect, but I don't think it'd be that much of an understatement to say he's at the very least, if not the best, one of the best demotes that we've ever gotten. He's very solid. He gets 2 nutty pref skills and is just very solid on offense, and still no slouch on defense either. He was tanking some hits from a unit that had triangle advantage. He was tanking them from one that had flyer effectiveness. He was just holding up very well. With Fallen Star and Frozen Delight, he can play kind of a hit and run strategy. He can use Fallen Star to tank some hits on enemy phase, even if it's not ideal. Overall, just very solid. I'm very pleased with him, and I'm looking forward to eventually getting Attack Speed Catch Seal and just making him even better. So anyway, thank you guys, as always, so much for watching, for joining me and Claude on making some midsummer memories. And until next time, this is Hoodie Angel Brandon and Claude signing out. Fear the deer!